Today, so the lesson of the week, couple of things here. Number one is I was in Vail, Colorado last week and had the good fortune to lead a mastermind, and it was with their top 100 agents in their region. And to prepare for that, here's the thing I can't stand about masterminds. I know, Jenny, you've had this experience. Josh has probably had it. Tony's probably had it. You walk into the room, everybody's sitting in circles, and then they say, well, what do you guys want to talk about today? I hate that, right? And I've made that mistake as a facilitator. And so because I hate it so much, I did a lot of prep going into this thing. And one of the people that over the last few months that I have really come to enjoy their lessons, both in life and in business, is a guy named Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi. And he has this quote, and I found it on Instagram. I'll share it with you guys right here. Hopefully you can all see that. And it says, once you realize just how much work it takes to go from good to great, you realize you can only be great at a few things and ignore the rest. Now, as you know, with me, I like to take quotes and turn them into questions because questions control focus, focus controls feeling, feeling controls action, and action controls results. And so the question that I have to start with each and every one of you is, what is it that you intend to be great at? If you can only be great at 2 to 3 or 1 to 2 things in your life, what is it that you intend to be great at? Another way to ask that is, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? And so I ask that question as something that's very reflective, something that I would encourage each and every one of you to take and to think about this week as you move through your week. And it's interesting because there's a quote that I think it comes from Ryan Holiday. And what he says is that we suffer from problems of abundance more than we do of scarcity. And the battle we fight is that we can virtually do anything. But because we have limited time, we can't do everything. And so what are the 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 things that you intend to be great at with the time that you have on this earth? Now, something else, and this is much more tactical because I wanted to give you something that you could take into your business this week. And you've heard me say this 1,000 times, that people are not call reluctant, they're value deficient. And I think that something that we should all be great at, or at least good at, is engineering value that we are proud of to take into our marketplace, community, whatever you want to call it, your database, right? And I've shared this with you all before, but it's worth mentioning again, especially right now. And a couple of years ago, I was on a call, I was leading it. It was like 5 other coaches. And I asked the question, what does the value toolkit of every mega agent or real estate agent's team have to include? What are the things that they've got to offer as value to eliminate call reluctance to their community's database, marketplace, whatever you want to call it? And so we came up with these 5 things, and I'll post the link to this so that you all can download it if you would like. And the first thing is teaching. I think that many of us love to teach people, and we have topics, things that we love to teach on. And this could be anything from Brittany and Jenny do this with QL for kids. Josh is doing this with wealth building. But what's the topic that you really love teaching that you can strengthen and build your database from? So the first toolkit item is teaching. What can you teach? Now, if you're an agent on a team and you're going, I don't have anything to teach, that's not true. You might be passionate about helping people get out of debt. You might be passionate about helping people organize their garages. Man, last year, my wife paid this organizing company like $3,000 to come in and knock out our garage. And if I'm honest, at first I was like, $3,000. But I never tell her what to do. So I was like, you know, you do you, whatever. That was the best $3,000 we've ever spent. So you might be passionate about helping people organize whatever it is. The next one, events. So events, macro, micro, Meg Dady is really good at this. The micro events, like hiring a sleep coach and having people come in, you know, 20 people and teaching them how to sleep. There are some things that you can tag on to, like, as I mentioned here, wedding galas, renting out movie theaters. But every single real estate agent, in my opinion, should have some type of an event. It could be a call-in to win. Right? The Tony Baroni team does this really well, even though Tony told me that he didn't want to do them and I made him do it. And now it's an integral part of their business. That's a little self-promotion there, and I'll never let him live that down. Very important stuff. Next one, your network. So I heard Gary and Jay say this like 5 or 6 years ago. The only reason that Angie's List exists is because agents weren't doing their job. And this was really evident when I bought our last house. I made a mistake and hired a really shitty realtor because I didn't know the area and I didn't want to represent ourselves. And I hired a coaching client of mine instead of like interviewing people like Kate or people like Brittany that are experts on the area. And what was so interesting is that when you move to a new city, your network has to start all over. Establishing care at doctors, especially when you have kids who go to, you know, at that time, our kids were going to a primary school and I swear they came home every other day sick. We didn't have accountants. We didn't have, you know, like all these things. And so creating your list of scrubbed professionals that the people that are in your database can trust is a really great piece of value that each and every one of us should have. It's our version of Angie's List. And there's so many ways that you can use that. One of them is what I covered with Aaron Simons a few weeks ago in the expert interview about, you know, CPAs and estate attorneys and financial planners. So this one can get really deep and really wide depending on how far you want to go. The next one, local expert. So local expert is where you are breaking down and communicating what is happening in the real estate market. But see, here's the thing about this that I really want you all to get. Just narrow it to 3 or 4 points. And I know all of you hate this. This happens to me all the time. If you speak or you're, you know, a lot of people like get your email address. Do you guys get those agents that like send you newsletters that have their stupid listings in them? And then they send those charts of what's happening in their market. Well, I'm a high C and I still don't understand what those charts are saying. And number one, I don't understand why they do that. I don't give a shit what your listings are in your local area because I can pull that up on realtor.com if I really wanted to know. But 3 to 4 talking points on the market per month, just 3 to 4. And if you wanted to pop on and do a 90-second or 120-second video, something like that, super easy. But every month, just narrow your focus to 3 to 4 things that you can talk about that are happening in the real estate market. And it gives you a reason to talk to people. And you are actually the local economist of choice. So don't just send out charts and graphs along with your listings that anybody already has access to. And then lastly, and this is one I think that many of you already nailed, but this is something that we could double down on, is a community cause. Something that you're passionate about. Something that, you know, like, I had this lady and I recruited the shit out of her for years and I never got her. And she's still at Remax, which if I'm honest, it's still something that like digs at me. But she took 2 of these ideas because she had an event. Now, this was back when like Game of Thrones was like a really big deal. And what she would do is rent out this clubhouse in the middle of her subdivision. And she would throw this massive party for the Game of Thrones launch. And she would have TVs all over the clubhouse and everybody could watch it. And some people even dressed up. But your ticket into the party is you had to bring 2 big jars of peanut butter for the Humane Society. And she was really big into animals and helping animals. And she would also, like, they had a 5K that you ran with your dog. And so she would put up she would have like a booth or whatever at that event. But what is something that you are really passionate about? And it doesn't have to mean that you go start up your own 5013C from the beginning. It could be that you're just attending those events, posting about it on social. Eventually, it could grow into your own thing. But what's a community cause that you're passionate about that you can double dip? You can go in and invest your time, energy, and money helping people or animals or whatever. And at the same time, strengthen and grow your network, both through meeting other people that are passionate about the same thing. And remember, many of you are media companies disguised as real estate companies. So you help promote whatever that cause is through your own network. So there you have it, everybody. And like I mentioned, let me put this in the chat box so that you guys can just download this if you want it. 1 second. I clicked on the wrong box. There you go. So the 5 things that need to make up, in my opinion, every agent's toolkit: teaching, events, your network, local expert, and your community cause. So you don't have to do them all right away. You might just do one. That's okay. But the whole goal here is for you to engineer curated content that you are excited to share instead of canned crap that elicits call reluctance. So I trust that this is helpful. I trust that you're going to join us October 12th. I also trust that you're going to join us on the journey of My Freed Life Digital, which, again, super, super excited about. And please know it is a pleasure being in business with each and every one of you. For those of you that I have calls with this week, I can't wait to talk to you. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to us. If you want to sign up for My Freed Life Digital, email Laura at myfreedlife.com. I will see you all right here next week. Bye-bye.